Hi everyone, Paul from models.co.uk. Welcome to part 5 of our Tamiya 132 F4U Corsair build. Bit of a shorter video today. We did quite a long one last time. It was 50 minutes long. This one's going to be about 30-35 minutes long. We're going to get all the cockpit, landing gear, framework into the fuselage, get all the fuselage glued together, filled, sanded, polished, and then we'll get all the various other sections of the fuselage on as well. This has leads us to part 6, which will start building the engine, and that'll be a slightly longer part that time as well, because there's quite a lot to get through on that one. But for today, as I say, we're going to get all the fuselage buttoned up, filled and what have you. So we'll carry on and get going. Okay, this is where we're at currently. You saw we were in the last part. We had the sidewalls painted, etc. Bit of weathering in the wheel well at the back over the salmon primer. There was one part I'd actually forgotten, which was this little supporting section here. I had to remix the paint, which was fun trying to match the colour. Glued it in position. Well, I haven't glued it actually. It's in position. Once I get the wheel wells, the fuselage halves together, I'll put a bit of weathering in there to match it up with this. Off camera, I've done a few little bits and bobs, nothing drastic. We go to the overhead camera. You can see I've painted up all the control panels, levers and what have you. Flare gun, I assume it's a flare gun, it's been painted up, box and what have you. So they've all been painted, any colour's been picked out, they've then been dry brushed, and I give it the same highly thinned XF1 black wash airbrushed in. Same way I did for the cockpit, so they all tally up and match. The back's the same as it was last time, so it's had the Ultimate Model in Dark Dirt wash in there, the Mark II one, which is much darker than the original one. So that's great, that's one side. The other side, again, any detail parts have been had, it was just, I think, just throttle levers. So again, if I go a bit closer, they've been painted, any colour's been picked out, dry brushed and given a wash, and the backs, as it was last time, just weathered up with the newer Dark Dirt wash. This part was done last time, so that's ready to go in. We've got these two parts. I suppose it's a front bulkhead. Doesn't need painting at all because it can't be visibly seen anywhere. And we've got one supporting section for the front. First off, we're going to get everything in position. I have dry fitted this together. There's a few pictures of it on International Scale Modeler because I've got a photo build of this alongside the video build on there. I did assemble it all, take some photos, but I've taken it back apart for the video. I didn't glue anything, it was just dry fitted. It was mainly to make sure everything fitted in position as it should. So if we start looking, there's several little locating tabs around the model, so it's a case of keeping an eye on where they are. There's one, you just had a clip in place, and then the other one's at the back. So what we'll do, I think we'll put a dab of super glue in that back one just to hold it. I'm not a fan of using super glue on parts because there's no going back with it, but on this one I think we'll be okay. So using Tamiya's excellent super glue dispenser, I'm just going to pop a little bit of super glue in there. I need a little bit more actually. See if we can get a good dribble on there. There we go, that's better. Pop a little bit in. Because the front two, they're quite positive clicks into the locating tabs. The back one's a little bit free floating, so we'll glue that in, give it a hold for a minute, and then we'll use a bit of Tamiya extra thin. It's not great extra thin on painted parts, it takes the paint off. Rub it apart like that, if you can see, let go of that, yeah. Just in there is where I'm going to glue. You can't be visibly seen from this side, so it's not a problem at all. I always put a bit of Tamiya extra thin in before the fuselage halves go together. So if we grab the extra thin, put it back on the super glue. That's on the side. That's the case. Make sure everything goes in. With kits of this type, if it doesn't fit or it's not fitting, you've got it in wrong. Kits of this quality, you know, they're engineered well. Everything fits perfectly, as you can see on that rear bulkhead. So if you're having trouble with a part getting it to fit, there's obviously a problem with it. I'm going to move my camera back a little bit. I keep going out of shot for you. There we go, that's better. So a little bit of extra thinner now, pop a little bit more in. just there, and I might put a little bit at the top. It's not going to do any harm. There we go. So that's fine. This isn't for any structural work. This is just literally all together while I'm putting it all together. Nothing worse than trying to put fuselage halves together and everything's falling out all over the place, getting in the way and what have you. So next up, we'll put this front bulkhead in. Make sure we get the right way, which, if I remember right, it goes like that. So again, big locating tab just underneath my thumb and at the bottom there. So quite a positive one. So quite a bit of extra thin in here. Just to button up, make sure none goes over the top of the fuselage. None runs underneath onto your fingers, because that'll do detrimental damage. That's something else I've done on this as well. I knew there was something else I've forgotten. The rear copper canopy glass, I'm going to put this in. They're all masked up ready. I did it last time. So this has been painted. I was waiting on the ACAM paint set, which I've got. Painted that the other day. Absolutely superb paint. Love it. I really need to get a lot more of that. It was thinned about 10-15% with Ultimate Modelling thinners, and it is the smoothest paint you'll ever use. I absolutely love it. Just finished the MiG-29, the Great Wall Hobby one, and the camo was a light grey, green and a grey, and oh, absolutely stunning paint to work with. Fantastic. So very happy. That's going to be our main fuselage colour, the top section. Then we've got a lighter blue for underneath and a white, well, it's an off-white for underneath. So I'm very happy with that colour because it is a very dark blue. I was having trouble getting the match, but to me that looks absolutely superb. Exactly the same on the other side. Absolutely flawless paint. Very nice. So there's that one. And then there's this front support here. They've not been fully finished. You can still see the sprue gates on there. They can't be seen, so there's no point spending time sanding it, polishing it, etc. Okay, so give them a second or two to set that one, and we can start getting the cockpit in. Nice to get this in. It looks quite good in position. Again, make sure you get it in the right position. It'll sit in absolutely perfect, just like that. So the fit, absolutely superb, just as you expect of a kit like this. I'm currently building Tamiya's 132 F16 as well, personal build of my own, a photo build, and I've only built the engine so far, and I think it's just absolutely stunning kit as well. Everything just fits so well. I know a lot of people say it takes the fun out of modelling when everything fits well, but I've built many terrible models, and I've had enough. I want to build quality models nowadays, so all my stash has been cleared out of anything I didn't think was up to par. Might sound a bit snobby, but for the last 3 years of the hobby I've been in, I've built some right pigs of kits. So I'm now steering clear of anything I don't deem as a good kit. So there we go, that's in position. I didn't bother chipping the sidewalls at all, because in my opinion they won't really get anywhere. The only area that might get any wear is just at the top by the canopy. To be honest, I wanted to add it. I'd add it with a brush later. I'll see what it all looks like when it's all buttoned together, because to be honest, with the shape of the fuselage, oh, I forgot about that front bit. The shape of the fuselage, you can barely see it anyway. Can you imagine when that's all buttoned up together? But you can see the sidewall detail, adds a bit of interest to it. So, let's get it all buttoned together. I did do this the other day. It was a little bit fiddly the other day because I haven't any parts glued in. So we'll line up the bottom. We'll line up the top. There we go. Get that in. There we go. So there's the front closed, back closed. Something at the back's not quite buttoning up, which is it? It's going to be that little thing. So it's that supporting piece I've put in. Let's see. Yep, it's that little one. Here we go. A nice clip, and in she goes. So I can see Fits very good. So we've got a bit of a gap underneath. Can't see any reason for that. There's no reason for it to be pushed apart, so that may be the only part that's going to need a bit of filler. The top, once it's pushed together, with that part was catching last time. There we go, it's very nice. This part at the back here is virtually invisible on the camera, I can't see it on my monitor. And obviously this part, there's a part that glues in over the top, which is a nice feature. Around the tailor section, the seam itself is going to be hidden by the actual vertical stabilizer. Along to the back, probably 80% of this will get sorted with the glue. That underneath is a little bit of a concern. It's not hard to sort, I was just hoping that it wouldn't have needed much filler, but we'll see what the extra thin does. And then we'll get some clamps on it. And we'll go from there. So, as you can see, if we look into the cockpit, you can see that's all. Lots of detail, lots of interest. Looks rather well if I don't say so myself. So very nice, worth all that effort and time, because that's taken me quite a while. So what we'll do now is we'll start applying some extra thin. So along all the seams and the gaps. As always with extra thin, you don't need a massive amount. Always wipe your brush off, because the worst thing you can do is run down the side of the fuselage, especially if it hits your fingers, because it'll ruin a lot of the detail on the model and a lot of your hard work. So there we go. So always dry off your fingers before you touch anything. Make sure you got nothing in the way. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go around and all the parts are going to be hidden. Just going to put some glue in just to tack it together. Because I do plan on using some clamps on this just to hold it. So hopefully that won't come apart. We can leave that there on its side. I'll grab a couple of clamps. So I've got burner clamps, which I find very handy. Friction fit, they hold with fingertip pressure. Very simple design. Fiberglass rod. Sorry, might be carbon fibre thinking about it actually. So I'll have one at the back, we'll turn that round. So never apply an overt amount of pressure, just enough to hold it. With these, the way it works, the friction of the carbon rod bending holds these together, and it literally holds with fingertip pressure. Absolutely brilliant clamps, very useful. I think we'll put a little bit of a peg on the back. Yeah, we'll glue that rear section. So what I'm going to do now, same tip I use for wing tips, is upside down and allow the brush to sneak through underneath, and what that does, a capillary action, pulls it up without letting any paint dribble down the side. So there's the back part done. Give it a clip on there, probably fly off at the earliest opportunity. There we go. Okay, there we go. We're all closed up, glued, clamped, strapped, you name it. We're done. No, it's not bad at all. All the top sections look fine. I can't see us needing really any filler there. Maybe just a bit of Mr. Surface there. Underneath that part I thought was going to be a problem. Isn't actually that bad. There's a very, very slight gap just in the middle there. A little bit of filler in there. A bit of deluxe materials, plastic putty. Then yeah, a slight little bit of Mr. Surfacer, and we should have no problems there whatsoever. So I'm going to let all this set. I'll then fill it, sand it, and we'll come back just after we've been sanded. Rather than you sit and watch me fill it and sand it, which is going to fill the part up of nonsense. Well, not nonsense, but you don't really sit watching me filling and sanding it. We'll come back, get it all polished up. If we've lost any detail, rivet detail, which we may do a little bit, we can add that back in, hopefully. And rescribe if needed. Rescribing shouldn't really be much of a problem because it's mostly riveting. And that's it. So I'm going to let it dry. We'll come back, I'll get it filled, sanded, and we'll come back to see it getting polished. Right, okay, so all the Tamiya extra thins now dried. What I've done is I've protected all the surface detail, the rivets and what have you, with masking tape each side of the seam line, so top and bottom. I then sanded the seam lines using a sanding sponge. Obviously the masking tape protects all the detail, just very lightly taking the detail off. Very, very slight areas that need filling, so what I've done is I've bunged in some deluxe materials, perfect plastic putty. As you can hear, it's bonfire night tonight, so there's a lot of fireworks going off. This is now going to be allowed to dry, most probably till later on this evening. And it'll certainly be left to, well, once I sand it off, it'll be left until at least tomorrow morning. Then I'll put some Mr. Surfacer on. We'll get that flatted, polished, and hopefully have perfect seams. So fit the kit's very good. Underneath we had a bit of a concern. There was just one faint line through the middle, nothing major at all. Just a very faint line that the extra thin didn't get. Up and around the back, I'll probably put a little bit of Mr. Surface 1000 just around there. It doesn't require any filler. Just around the tail section there. Sorry, it went out of shot. So I'll let this set at least till late on tonight. I'll see how hard it's got. I will more than likely, if I'm honest, leave it till tomorrow. Let it fully set. Any shrinkage will take place, and then we'll give it a go with Mr. Surfacer. Okay, so all the filler's dried. It's been drying now for about 6 hours. Sanded it all off. I've masking taped it because obviously the masking tape got destroyed by the sanders. I've then applied Mr. Surfacer, Mr. Surfacer 1000. This will be allowed to dry overnight because that will shrink a little bit. Hopefully we won't see any panel line gaps in there. If we don't, that means we're pretty much sorted. Underneath, like I say, the gap wasn't too bad. It's still a little bit of a gap, but obviously you can't expect everything to be absolutely perfect. That's all filled, sanded. We haven't lost much of the riveting detail, which is good. Any we'll have to put back in at a later date. So I'm going to let this dry overnight now. And first thing tomorrow we'll come back, we'll get all the Mr. Surfacer off. I'll probably do that on camera for us. Then we can get it all polished up ready. We'll get this rear section on, this one, and I think this one can go on as well. And that'll be us done for this part. And then we'll come back for part, I think it'll be 6, if I remember right. And we'll start, if I get the instructions, we'll start assembling the engine, and that'll be the entire next part for us. Leading on painting it, which will be done in Alclads. Leading on to getting it installed into the aircraft itself. Once we get past this part, we start getting onto the wings, tail sections. Then we're onto the part we have to choose extended or folded wings. We're going for extended, and obviously it runs through step by step for that. So I'm going to let this dry overnight. We'll come back first thing tomorrow morning, and we'll get it all sanded up, unmasked, polished, and add any detail that's missing as well. Right, okay, it's been about 12 hours or so since I put the Mr. Surfacer on. That's obviously dried really nice. It's been sanded, polished, given a light coat of Mr. Hobby Flat Black. If I'm honest, I needed to touch this up because I'd hit it with a sanding stick as I went through and took a bit of the black off, so I touched that up while I was at it. I've checked the seam lines, which are absolutely perfect. On this one I had to just mask it off lightly to stop it hitting the blue on the inside of the canopy windows, and underneath it's got a bit scratched up from being on the workbench, but as you can see, no problems there with the seam lines. Same on the top, same on the front. Also lost a little bit of detail, so we've rescribed using the trumpeter scriber tool and the trumpeter rivet maker, and using the scribing template as well. Didn't really lose a lot, only a few little bits here and there, so it was nothing major. So that's it all glued together. The back section you can't really see on camera there. Probably need a little bit more work on it, but I'll get to that when I put the actual horizontal tail parts on. So what we've got now, we've got 3 parts to button up, 2 on the front and the major one on the back. I've test fitted these and the fit's absolutely phenomenal, really is. Continues the quality of the kit. Literally pops on, holds itself in position. Once we dab a little bit of Tamiya extra thin in there, we're not even going to see where those gaps are. Absolutely superb. This here is nothing to be concerned about. It's where a little bit of wash has trickled out and it's just in that panel line. I'll get that at a later date with another scribing tool. Front section, again, literally pops in place, pushes in, perfect. So certainly no questions of the kit's fit at all. And the very front part, again, straight in position, no problem at all. And I think, yeah, they all hold themselves in. That front one lifts a little bit, but I'm really impressed by the fit, especially that back top fuselage part. Absolutely beautiful, really, really nice. So what we're going to do now, if I can keep you guys in shot, is I'm just going to put some extra thin around all these parts. Really don't want a lot going in there because we don't want to lose any detail at all. And we'll also need, once it's dry, is a buff with one of the Ultimate modelling buffers. It won't need sanding. It just either going over the buff inside, and then I go over with the polish inside, and I'll have a perfect seam. Just going to do these side parts, keep you guys in shot. So as always, wipe off the brush, the extra thin. We don't need a lot. Capillary action takes it in. And again, make sure you've got none on your fingers. Even fingerprints all over this. I've got to say that the riveting detail, I don't know if you can see it, on the aircraft, just absolutely stunning. So fine. Really, really crisply well done. Tad too much glue there now because we're talking to you. Absolutely superb fit and finish. Like I said, that riveting detail is absolutely beautiful. All the way over the entire fuselage sides. The only thing is, it is fine. It's not going to hold a wash, I don't think, because it is really lightly detailed. You know, you don't want too big a surface detail because it looks unrealistic then. And to be honest, I think if we've got a wash in there, it'd look a bit daft all over the aircraft personally. So there we go, just get a little bit more on that tail there. So there's that back part. I'm just going to give it a very light little push. Just have a look, make sure we're all sealed in. Needs a little dab just there. we go. So we'll leave that to dry, and then we'll give it a buff with the Ultimate Modelling polisher. Getting a bit battered, that one now. I've had that one on the go for quite a while. So I'll have to break out a new one soon. Same with the front section, exactly the same as the back. Just enough glue in there to glue it in. Without going OTT. So there we go. And the front part. So again, little gap just there. I think it's one of the antennas, if I remember right. So it was a bit worrying at first. I was like, oh my god, what's that gap? And then I realised what it was for. And there we go. So we're all glued in, so make sure everywhere's got a bit of glue that needs is a little dab just there as well. A little bit just down the back there. Obviously gluing over painted areas isn't great, because you always remove the paint, but I wanted to check for the panel lines, make sure they were all fine. That's what we'll add a little bit more just in there too. There we go. Fantastic, so we'll leave that to dry and I'll come back and we'll give it a buff up. Okay, so the glue's dried for approximately 2 hours now. All looks to have filled the seams and gaps, well not gaps, but filled the seams very well. There's no problems there. So what we're going to do now is one of the ultimate sanding buffers. Give it a light buff and then we'll polish it with the other side. What that'll do, remove all the glue marks. As you can see, if I find some, if I catch the light, so you can see along there where the actual glue's been, the excess glue. So it's a case of going along, lightly sanding it with the very mild side of the polisher. All that'll do, it'll take off the glue marks without removing any of the detail, and then we'll polish it up and it'll just look like brand new plastic. So what we're going to do, we're going to leave this as is because that's all the fuselage buttoned up and the major components, and then we'll come back next time, which will start assembling the engine, which includes the engine bulkhead, exhaust, and then start getting the actual engine itself assembled, which looks a very nice detailed part of the kit. That's going to need some paint, so we're using probably Alclad's Mr. Hobby buffer balls to give a good metal effect. And I think we're seeing the kit, obviously you get the clear cowlings, which I'm not going to use if I'm honest, but I think you can remove the actual painted ones to allow the engine to be shown. Which again is another cracking part of the kit. So all we need to do is just get rid of all these glue marks. And obviously if there's any parts that need a bit more glue, you can always dab it in. But it's worth just checking before you do any of that. And there we go. So if I catch that light again where we were before, you can see that shininess that was all along there is now gone. So we're going to flip it around to the white part and it's going to start to squeak probably. And what that'll do, that'll buff the plastic up to a real nice high shine, like it comes out of the kit. Just give that a bit of a buffer underneath. Here we go. And there we go. As you can see, nice and shiny, matches all the rest of the plastic. In fact, it's shinier than the plastic out of the box. Perfect seams, no problems there at all. Fantastic, worked very well. While they're doing, because you're putting primer on, you don't really prime thick coats of primer, so you don't want to be showing detail where it's been covered in glue marks and what have you. So it's worthwhile, spend a bit of time going around the model and making sure everything's clean, tidy and ready for prime. Obviously we're a long ways off prime yet, we've still got a lot more components to add. I'll go around off camera, tidy up the front sections. So there we go, all buffed, polished, all the seams are spot on, absolutely brilliant, no problems there at all. All the front buffed up, polished. So there we go, that's the main fuselage parts together. Still a few more bits and bobs to add, front and back, and a section around the canopy as well, but they come at a later stage. That's us for today. Quite a short one, well not quite, it's about normal length, about 30-35 minutes long, because the last part we did was about 50 minutes long, quite a long one. The next one will probably be quite a long video again. If I grab the instructions quickly, because we're going to start assembling the engine. It's quite a large undertaking, so we've got front bulkhead, exhausts, obviously this is what we've done just now, and that was calling for this to be installed just yet, but I thought there's no point in starting that to do 5-10 minutes of it and then start next time, so we'll do that next time. So we'll start off with that part, then we'll move on to getting this front cowling on as well, just there, and then the main part. I will more than likely do that part off camera, because all it's going to be is gluing those to that and spraying them in silver. So I'll do that off camera and get that ready in there. Yeah, again, probably do that off camera, get it all just glued in. It's only 3 pieces and then it's glued to this. There's nothing fascinating to watch, not that any of my stuff's fascinating to watch. And then the main focus of the next part time will be assembling the engine, all its various components. We'll get all these sprayed up using Alclads and Mr. Hobby buffer balls, which I'm just using on Tamiya's 132 F16, and as you can see, you get a nice effect. That's all Alclad on there, and if we pop that off, there's Mr. Hobby buffer ball inside, so they give really nice effects. So we'll use that on this as well. Right, just put that back on, there we go. That's another amazing kit as well, that's Tamiya 132 F16. So we'll get through, hopefully we'll get through the majority of building this. I'm just going to build it out of the box, I won't be adding any wires to it or what have you. I just like to build them out of the box for the video builds, just to show you what you can do with a kit, you know, with this caliber, I suppose the word is. I don't like to add bits to them, unless it's something, you know, simple I can add, but this will be doing totally out of the box. Probably be totally ignoring the paint call outs, because I want to use Alclad and Mr. Hobby, so we'll do a variation on that, but that's my plan for the next part. So there we go. So that's us for today. I'll be back. I'll try and get it done quite soon. I've been quite busy recently, obviously with own things going on, life as well. I'll try and get another part up pretty soon. Like I say, it'll probably be a long part next time, probably 40-50 minutes again, and we'll get that engine done. So that's us for today. That's where we're at now. Nice to get it all in its fuselage. It looks quite smart from the top, if you can see in there. So nice interesting cockpit, which is what I wanted. The famous floorless cockpit as well. We've got the canopy rear section to put on. I don't want to put them on just yet, in case any more sanding needs doing. I don't want to damage the glasswork, so they're up on the top ready to go in, but we'll be back very soon anyway and get that engine done. I'll be back very soon. As always, check out eModel's website, everything modelling related on there you could need, all good prices. It's always my first port of call. Check out eModel's YouTube channel and Facebook page, you know, like it, follow what's going on. All the new products get posted on there. You can send pictures of your own stuff in there for them to show as well. All my other videos can be found on YouTube, eModels YouTube channel. And also there's links to the build on International Scale Modeler, as well as a separate photo build I've done for bits I've done off camera. So you can go to that and have a look at other bits that have been done. That's inscalemodeler.com as well. So we'll be back very soon in the next part. Paul from eModels.co.uk. I'll see you soon. Take care.